A recent study is sounding the alarm on Canada's electronic waste, which it says has more than tripled over the last 2 decades. A team of researchers at the University of Waterloo conducted a comprehensive estimate of e-waste in Canada going back as far as 1971. This was to better understand the life cycle of electronic items from point of sale to disposal. The study finds that Canadians produced nearly 1 million tons of e-waste in 2020 alone, and that number is expected to reach 1.2 million tons annually by 2030. The researchers are now urging better e-waste management to reduce environmental harm and bring economic rewards. Well, joining us now to discuss these findings is Dr. Komal Habib, lead researcher of the study. She's also an assistant professor at the School of Environment, Enterprise and Development, or SEED, at the University of Waterloo. Dr. Habib, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thank you so much for having me on.
So let's start by discussing what exactly constitutes as e-waste.
So e-waste is any product that is powered by electricity or the batteries. For example, the phones in our hands, computers, tablets, gadgets, anything we use in our daily life, including the large household appliances, for example, the refrigerators, washing machines, ovens, you name a thing in your house and your offices, that's part of the electronic items category, as well as then end up as electronic waste.
And according to this research, e-waste has more than tripled in the last 20 years, and the numbers continue to rise. What were found to be the key causes of this?
So there are a number of reasons for that increasing trend. Number one, obviously, we can't ignore the fact that we are more people compared to 20 years ago. So population also has its role to play. Second thing is the consumer behavior. And that is also very important to consider because now we tend to buy more products more often. We tend to replace our older products very soon or every year or 2 years to replace with the most latest technology. And also the products have shorter lifetimes now. So I think all these reasons coupled together lead to this problem.
And understandably so. Now, this report mentions that e-recycling is not keeping up with electronics development. So can you unpack this for our viewers and how e-recycling can be improved?
So this particular study did not focus on the recycling infrastructure or the failures of the system, but on the first comprehensive estimate of electronic waste in Canada. But what I can say for now is that the speed or the pace at which our electronic items have technologically developed over time, for example, the phone in my hand or you have, is much more complex than it used to be a few years back. But the recycling infrastructure, the recycling technology has not kept up with this pace. So for most of the recycling industry, the technology we talk about is at least a decade or two old. So I think that there is this gap which needs to be reduced.
And you highlighted something interesting previously, that properly managed e-recycling could create a secondary supply chain of critical minerals. So can you tell us a little bit more about the kinds of critical minerals that can be found in e-waste?
So electronic waste stream is really interesting stream. And actually, I don't want to call it a waste stream. I want to call it a resource stream because it's full of precious and critical minerals. So critical minerals, when we say there are a number of those found in electronic items and then electronic waste. For example, there is nickel, cobalt, there is lithium, there are rare earth elements. So a number of critical minerals and metals are found in electronic waste, which, if efficiently recovered, could then reduce the burden on primary supply from the mining.
All right, but Dr. Habib, just about a minute left here, but what would an ideal system of e-recycling and a secondary supply chain of critical minerals look like?
So I wouldn't directly jump to recycling. No, I think we have to, being consumer, we really need to focus on how we can increase the lifespan of a product as long as possible, as long as it's functional. Then it comes to the policymaking institutes. I think they could provide more incentives to the recycling industry, who could then use those incentives to not only upgrade their infrastructures, but also to efficiently manage, repair, refurbish, recycle different resources found in this very precious and complex waste stream.
All right, Dr. Habib, truly appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us on Forum Daily.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Take care.